far distance, I see a manatee, an eagle ray, a 3-foot lobster, a playful dolphin, a nurse shark, intimidating but harmless, a shipwreck that housed so many fish, it reminded me of the movie Little Nemo. What amazing beauty I have seen with all the snorkeling that I've done. I am grateful for snorkeling. It's the most cheap, inexpensive sport and easy to do. My first experience snorkeling was in Ambergris Cay, Belize, and Cape Cocker. I saw amazing puffer fish, huge tarpon, colorful fish, coral, fell in love. I've been there 2 other times. We went south to Punta Gordo and went to an island, went to Lime Key, and the water was really lime color. It was amazing. That's where we saw the shipwreck of all the amazing fish, the 3-foot lobster, the spotted eagle ray. That was phenomenal. Since then, I've been to Mexico. I've been to Costa Rica, the north, south, east, and west. I've been to Panama. I've been to Hawaii. I've been to Honduras, to the island of Raton. I've enjoyed all of it. It's been amazing. I can say that with that experience, I've done a lot of different kind of snorkeling. I've done a lot in many different countries. And with that, I think that I can give a very good informative speech on snorkeling. I'd like to share with you the equipment needed, how to get started, where to go, and in conclusion, probably the safety that's involved in doing that. So let's get started with the equipment that's needed. First, you need your mask. Mask should fit tight and snug around your eyes. It should have a clip on the side that holds your snorkel. The snorkel should fit tight in your mouth. It shouldn't come out. Water shouldn't seep in. Those are really important. The next piece of equipment would be your fins. The fins are what propel you through the water, and it keeps you buoyant as you're doing it. It's a great way to move quickly through the water, and it can keep you safe. So the third piece of equipment was your fins. Then let's move on to the vest. Vest is smaller than a life preserver, but it keeps you buoyant and helps retain your energy. If you're out 2 and 3 hours snorkeling, that vest is really going to help with keeping you buoyant, so you don't have to keep yourself buoyant. Now, vests used to not be mandatory, but they are now. And so it's important to have that. Most places have those, but it's nice to have your own. You don't have to worry about it. Optional is your dive skin, and optional is your wetsuit. If the water's wet and cold, water's wet. If it's cold, you're going to want your wetsuit. If the water's warm, I used a dive skin because it kept me from getting sunburnt, and it also kept me from getting stung by jellyfish. We had an experience, we're on a little island, and the current brought in a whole bunch of baby jellyfish. I didn't get stung, my kids didn't get stung, but my mom did because she didn't have that jacket or the dive skin on. So that can protect you. It's a very good piece of equipment. So after equipment, how do you get started? How you get started is by going to a dive shop, talking to them about maybe getting a class that can teach you how to snorkel. You can take your equipment with you. The dive shop that we bought our stuff with, we went to a pool, tried it out. It all worked great, but they said if not, we could return it. And that was fabulous. So we kept the equipment that we had. We went to a pool. You can do the same thing. We didn't do a class. So either do a class or go do it yourself. Either way, try out your equipment. Don't leave your equipment in the packaging before you go on a trip. You don't want to find out there that you have leaks or that something doesn't fit. That could ruin your trip. So make sure that you have, you're ready to go and you know how to do it. Next, we're going to talk about where to go. Now, I went to coastalliving.com and they suggested going to 10 different areas that had really good snorkeling. They suggested 3 places in the Bahamas, Mexico, Catalina Island, Belize, amazing places to go. So those places have a lot to see. Fish, coral. Amazingly enough, when we went to Panama, we had an opportunity to go to an area that the Smithsonian bought, and it's closed. Not anybody can go there. They're trying to build up the coral and the reef there, but we were able to go to a corner of it and be able to see what was there. Was amazing. No wonder they want to preserve it, because it looks untouched. It was the most amazing snorkeling I've ever done. So I was grateful for that. So when you're going to pick an area to go, you want to pick an area where it's warm, sunny, the water is crystal clear, because the more that you can see in the depth, the better it is. 5 to 30 feet is optimal. And the clearer the water, the better. So make sure that the places that you pick, that a river isn't running into an ocean. It could be very silty, hard to see, but that crystal clear water is what you want. So make sure that that's where you go. In picking an area, you're going to have a passport. Most areas out of this country, you need a passport. So that will be part of your purchasing. Make sure that when you get to where you've picked, that you talk to the locals, that you find out from them the best place to go. Reputable people, you might spend more money, but you'll get an awesome experience. They know where to go. Whether in a boat or off the shore, you're going to have a great experience. We talked to many people. TripAdvisor is a great place to go. They give you people who have made comments, which is a wonderful site to go to. So now that you've picked where you want to go, we need to make sure that you know the safety involved in snorkeling. The number one safety is having a buddy. Make sure you have a buddy. Never leave that buddy. Always know where that buddy's at. Know your surroundings. Know what's to the side of you, what's to the bottom of you, and also how far you are. It's always important, because when you're snorkeling, you're paddling pretty fast and you can get far really quick. So every once in a while, look up out of the water, know where your buddy is, know where the boat's at. Be aware of your surroundings. Please never touch marine life, coral. Try never to touch it. Keep it alone. Keep it beautiful. We try never to take things out of the water. Leave it there. It just keeps it nice for everybody else. Know your first aid and CPR. Be up to date on that. I had an experience when I was in Mexico. When I was swimming, we had, when I was snorkeling, I heard something underwater, like somebody yelling underwater. And so I couldn't see anything, but the closer I got to the sound, I saw a lady under the water about 4 feet, and she was really struggling. So what I did is I swam down. I went to the back of her and I took her by the waist and flung her out of the water. Then what I did once she was out of the water, I grabbed her waist and I pulled her back, and she couldn't touch me. She couldn't grab my head. I got her to the land and everything was great. So I was glad I was prepared for that. I knew how to help someone who was drowning. I was safe, she was safe, and everything was great. So anytime you go snorkeling, please be prepared with your CPR and first aid. It's always something that can be useful. Okay, those are your safety tips. We've talked about where to go, how to get started, and your equipment. So in conclusion, I hope this information has you ready to take the plunge into snorkeling. You should try it. With $50, you could start with your mask, your snorkel, and your fins and have a wonderful, exciting time looking at colorful, vivid fish amazing coral, and maybe something rare. So once you start, you're never going to want to stop, or you'll start trying to plan your next trip. It's addicting.